move on to our next topic about a very hotly anticipated film, a little controversial too. We had our first teaser for the feature film, the NC-17 film, Blonde. A little bit of real life, a little bit of fiction based on a novel, a story about Marilyn Monroe. Now, this teaser, I should say, it is a teaser.
Yes.
Ana de Armas looks incredible and sounds incredible.
I mean, no hint of her accent.
No, the dialect she does here is
even
phenomenal.
though I have to tell you, though, I do feel that this is like it's based on the book by not Margaret Atwood. It's someone else who wrote the books. Joyce Carol.
There you go.
Oates.
Yeah.
Joyce Carol Oates wrote the book. She's a phenomenal author. This looks like a horror film to me. The end of this trailer was frightening.
Exactly.
She's going to come soon. I mean, I've always looked at Marilyn Monroe's. Obviously, I love her. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the first time, 7 Year Itch, or she was in All About Eve, which is one of my favorite films of all time. 1950 Best Picture winner. If you haven't seen All About Eve, it's one of the greatest movies ever made with one of the best femme fatales or just villains, female villains. Anne Baxter as Eve Harrington. Chef's kiss. But Marilyn Monroe's in that movie. But this film looks, I really, really want to see this, but it looks scary.
It does.
And I'm sure it's going to be depressing and it's going to piss me off.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the story, the rise and fall of Marilyn Monroe, of Norma Jean, is one of the most tragic American warped fairy tales at the end of the day, right? Because we have this young girl next door who gets taken in by Hollywood and is taken advantage of by the powers that be in that industry, right? And so in this teaser, we see her kind of trying to channel that version of herself, find that version of Marilyn. And we see her go from this desperation to putting on that mask, giving us the smile and the hair toss with the giggle. And it looks like, just from this, it's going to be this really intense, character-driven story that's going to be very, very heartbreaking.
And of course, the controversy, it's an NC-17 film. Mm-hmm. I would imagine not in the way we would like it to be.
Right. I don't think you have a story like this about a woman who was taken advantage of and brutalized.
Yeah.
I don't think that the N-17 here is for the faint of heart or for somebody who's wanting a more palatable NC-17 experience.
Yeah, I don't think this brings the filthy.
Yeah.
This is going to be a little bit more traumatizing, I think. In, because I can't do any of the scenes in movies where there's like just the beating of anybody. It's just hard for me. It like sticks in my head. So I have a feeling there's going to be things like that are going to happen.
Well, I know this is something that, I mean, months ago when we first reported on this, Aaron and I talked about this and that level of discomfort of, you know, is this going to be something that further exploits her to an extent? And how do we as an audience feel about that? Is it important to show that kind of brutalization that someone went through so that people understand the experience more, show it as that cautionary tale? Is it better to leave some of that to the imagination and let people fill in the blanks because the human mind is much more warped often? I guess my big question here is, what is the responsibility of a filmmaker to tell a story truthfully?
I think that's a great question. You know, one of my favorite, I've always thought of as a horror movie, is Roman Polanski's Repulsion, which came out in the 60s. It stars Catherine Deneuve. And basically, Catherine Deneuve, one of the most beautiful women in the world, she plays a woman who men, wherever she goes, men follow her. They don't leave her alone because she's so beautiful. And in a man's mind, the vision of her represents what they want, even though her humanity has nothing to do with it. It's just because she is beautiful. And the fact that she can never go anywhere without the unwanted attention of men drives her insane. Yeah. And I like that storyline because it is horrifying. I mean, it wasn't her fault that she looks the way she looks. And Marilyn Monroe became the object of desire for the world. But no one really cared about her as a person. They wanted that big screen image. They wanted that fantasy that isn't real. And there's a person behind every fantasy, and this movie looks to deal with that in a very frank way, which I think, for me, as a story, not just about Hollywood, but as about the pathology of human beings, could be really fascinating if done well.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And I cannot state enough how great Ana de Armas seems like she is. And I know it's just a teaser, you guys. I know I have to see more of this footage. But what we saw, I mean, she really, really does this beautiful turn that I think is very, very promising for the rest of this film is going to go. And I love what you said about all this, Rob. But the question is, guys, what do you think of this teaser? How do you feel about Ana de Armas stepping into the role of Marilyn? How do you feel about the story and this rating? Is it a film you're excited to see? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Guys, we want to take just a minute and thank the sponsor of this video, Masterclass. Masterclass is offering classes on a wide variety of topics, like all taught by world-class masters at the absolute tops of their field. Each class is broken down out into individual video lessons, usually like around 10 minutes or so long, and members can explore at their own pace. And each class is supported by downloadable materials, lessons, recipes, or more that you can all find at masterclass.com. For example, are you into streaming? Well, you can take the Building Your Streaming class taught by ninjas so you can sharpen up on your streaming skills. Or if you're interested in independent filmmaking, take independent filmmaking from Academy Award winner Spike Lee. You want to get classes on how to direct? How about from Ron Howard? The very first one I personally looked up and got into was Business Leadership by the great Big Papa Iger, Bob Iger himself. And I was absolutely enthralled with it. I love every single minute of this stuff. If any of those apply to you, you need to try Masterclass. So I highly recommend that you check it out. Get unlimited access to every Masterclass. And as a John Campea Show viewer, you get 15% off an annual membership. Go to masterclass.com/Campea. Once again, to get 15% off your annual membership, go to masterclass.com/Campea.